right? So move on, get off the if I could just know why, if I could just understand, move on, and then you might understand, or you might not. But no good will come from halting your life with if I could just know why. You know, our teacher, Ernest Holmes, was very clear that the soul is on a journey. Your soul is on a journey. The journey is back to the Father's house, and everybody makes it. And some people we know get there through pretty unusual routes, don't they? You know, I mean, and that's probably been so for us, that our own journey back to the Father's house has not been all of what we thought it would look like. You know, so we have to do not let your upset be what keeps you from making progress on your soul's journey. Everything, I'm certain, is to move us forward. See, it is all to help us become the people that we are supposed to become. Because ultimately, everything supports our spiritual evolution and our personal magnificence. Really, it does. Everything supports that. You know, in the Old Testament, Joseph had been enslaved for 13 years. He lost a lot of his life. 13 years as a slave. And it would have been really easy for him to be bitter, wouldn't it? You know, he could just be so bitter toward his brothers for doing this to him, and how he lost all his teenage years. He should have been out, I don't know, did they skateboard in the desert? I don't know, but he should have been doing teenage things. He should have been doing teenage things, you know? But he became Pharaoh's #1 guy. You know, so like on the Enterprise, you know, he was #1, right? So if he had a bad attitude or kept going on about, you know, if I could only understand why this happened, you know, the greater good God had for him could not have been manifested if he had a bad attitude or was stuck in the why and I need to understand. You know, many years ago, I had just moved to, oh God, a long time ago, I had just moved to Los Angeles, and I had been saving my money working 2 jobs, and I bought a car. It was my very first car. And the day I moved to Los Angeles, that night, my car was stolen. And I felt so awful. I mean, I cannot describe how low I felt. I felt defeated. It was just terrible. Now, I don't think in fact, looking back at it now, I don't think I ever even told my parents, because that would seem like admission of failure somehow to me. So I did not tell them. Now, I had been stupid. I put everything I had into the car and did not have any insurance. Okay? So big lesson there, for one thing. Now, I knew I would probably get through this. I had enough wherewithal to say, you know, I'm going to get through this, you know. It never occurred to me that I wouldn't. So I took the bus everywhere. And I had multiple jobs in those days. And so I would carry my clothes, several sets of clothes, and my little DOP kit on the bus in Los Angeles. And it seemed to go on forever. It seemed to go on forever. And I tell you, I had huge compassion for people who this was their exclusive mode of transportation. I want you to know that it really, because it was an extraordinarily humbling experience. But I saved money, and eventually I bought a new car. Now, years later, I can see that setback was actually a blessing. And you could not have convinced me of this at that time in any way. And I'll tell you why. I was not particularly on the path of consciousness yet. I was sort of looking, but loosely looking, you know? And with a car, I would surely have gotten myself into all kinds of trouble. I can say that securely about myself. I can, you know? I would have been like, party, yahoo, okay, let's go. Pile in, yeah. You know, so not too long after I got my next car and insurance, I discovered the science of mind, you know? And I would need a car to get to the churches that I was interested in visiting and taking classes and being of service and volunteering in. So God was actually using it for my good. I was being kept safe from myself. And so God does not waste anything that we go through. We might, you know, we might also benefit from this by asking ourselves, what am I supposed to be learning here? Okay, I'm going through this. It's not my preference, but what am I supposed to be learning here? How is this growing me as a person? I know nobody likes trouble, difficulty, disappointment, loss, but we always have to keep that seed of hope that God is using this, that this is ultimately for my good.